hold on.
See.
Yep, we're recording now.
Okay. If I could have you stand, call the meeting to order for the June 14th, 2023 Police and Fire Board meeting. If I could ask you to give me give us a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the meeting. Something that we had not been doing, but I think that we should be doing. Let's do a roll call. Sir.
Go ahead. Oh, here.
Present. No, present, meant for you to ask.
Oh, what, the chairman should do that? Or the secretaries do that?
I can do that, it's not a problem.
We have a sign in, so we know who's here.
Thank you. I was just looking at my minutes. Secretary Jeffs,
Yes.
Alan Rosecrans.
Yes.
Don Fuller,
Yes.
Todd Jenkins is excused, Lee McAllister is excused, Mike Small. Here. And both chiefs. Here. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm gonna look for an approval on the agenda. If you get a chance to look at it really quick in front of you. And make sure there's no additions, subtractions, comments, problems. If not, I'll accept a motion to accept the agenda.
So move. Second.
I have a support and a second for approval of the agenda. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Public comment first. Do we have a public comment first? None. Okay. The approval of the last minutes.
Can I
You
make
should
a,
have. Go ahead.
sorry, Chairman. Just one correction I noticed on the police update,
Yes, sir?
where it says, officer involved shooting in Oak Island, it should read Dutch Hills.
Where is
Right under
Down
police
it.
update, in that last, line in the paragraph there.
Anything else, gentlemen? Yeah, right. Move to approve, the minutes with the one correction.
Second.
I have,
Who did the first?
I'll do the first.
Don was first. And who was second?
Right, Roscoe.
Okay. Good. Alrighty. We'll go on,
You gotta vote, Mick.
correct,
Vote on the minutes.
correct. Can I have, do you wanna do roll call?
I don't know how we do it, just a
No?
verbal. All in favor?
All in favor of the, minutes the way they have been presented and with the adjustment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. We're on to old business. We did not have any old business. On to new business. We don't have any. Is there anything anybody has to bring forward or questions to ask with regards to Anything going on? If not, we'll go on for any items for introduction. Anybody got correspondence or anything like that that they'd like to bring and discuss? Guess not. Police department updates.
Okay.
We'll let you go first, Gary.
Alright. So for the numbers for January 1st to June 1st for 2022, which is last year obviously, we were at 6,965 calls for service. For the January 1 to June 1 of 2023, this year, we are at 7,196 calls for service. So a slight increase. And like I said before, our call volume is going up, but not by much, but what is happening with the police department, and not just ours, worldwide, is the hostility on the calls. You know, the number of gun calls we get is obviously gonna surpass last year, or alleged gun calls.
What do you mean by that?
So whether there's a gun involved, a gun seen, or a gun reported, or reported to be seen on scene, is, you know, we're getting more and more of them calls. People say, well, I saw a gun, or I heard shots fired, or, and I have to wonder on some of these that we can't ascertain if they're doing that to get a quicker response, which I
That's
don't.
what I was gonna ask.
You know, and the hostility is there. I mean, more people are just, I think in general, with the climate, are less apt to.
What do you mean by hostility? In the callers?
No, well, for suspects, you know, they're more apt to run on foot or in a car or resist arrest or
I
not
see.
comply
So-
with your legal
so-
demands,
Okay.
so. But,
So the interaction with the police, the person you're interacting with seems to be more hostile.
for sure.
Okay.
And I do have some updates on our agency. We recently made a conditional offer of employment to one police candidate. Conditional offer means he's gotta pass a thorough background, drug screen, psychology, medical, and whatnot. And then, he would start, he's slated to start, early August of this year, so. He's supposed to notify his employer this week, so I don't wanna put the name out if he hasn't done so, but he's currently a police officer with an agency in Eaton County right now. So, I think
Nice.
he'll fit in well and he'll work out well.
How many years' experience?
Just over one, he's pretty new, so.
That's all right, so he hasn't been ruined yet, you can say.
He can, Chief Smith can save him.
I don't know if I brought this up last time, I have an officer leaving police work altogether. His last day is, in July, however, he's going on vacation for a week, so technically his last day physically here is probably in the next week or so.
And did we know about that?
I don't know if I don't
Previous
think we-
meetings?
I don't think so, he might have been off on FMLA, cause he's having his daughter was being born, so
Okay.
he come back and decided that he's had enough.
He's out of it, or is he?
He's willing to stay on part-time with us for the time being, but yeah, he's getting out of police work.
Okay. It's not like he's going to another agency.
And we kinda knew this was coming, I really thought he would get vested with his 10 years in the MERS, but, so we have another vacancy. And we were hoping that when we had this last opening, that when we took applications, we would have enough for 2 in there, but
Right. I remember you saying that.
yeah, that was hopeful. So we're gonna reopen it, cause we got one out of it at least. We're gonna reopen it for more applications, but to be honest with you, I mean, we're in the same boat everybody's in. So we've actually opened it this last time, we opened it for what's called pre-service candidates. Meaning we would sponsor you through the police academy if you had no prior law enforcement experience. You know, it was few and far between in our days when they did that, now the academy is filled with all pre-service. I think there was one that paid to be in this last one, so. I don't wanna go that way because honestly, if that's the way we choose, we would have somebody on the road that could actually work by themselves in about another 13 months.
You take a risk.
It is a big risk.
And also, is there a contract that they have to work for you for a period of
It
time?
is, from what I've heard, most agencies in Lansing including, is saying they're not even going after them because it's not really worth the ink it's written on. The good news is the state of Michigan right now has, I think it's 20 or 30 million in grants. So the grant is 24,000 per agency per officer, and I think they'll allow you to put up to something like 20 officers. So, and I spoke to the academy, Andy Lindeman, who runs it, and I said, "What do you mean it's a grant?" He said, "Pretty much if you apply, you get it."
Yeah,
And we've seen over the last year, they've had this, and they had they had a lot of restrictions coming into it. And now they're just saying, look, if you sign, you've met these requirements, we're just cutting you a check to the agency for 24,000 and do with it, you gotta pay the police academy. And so, and when you do that, the minute you hire them, they are a full-time staff of the Bath Charter Township. So it's benefits, it's wages, it's,
right.
so, and you're right, Brian, it's a huge risk, and I'd prefer not to go down that road, but I don't know what
What
else
can you
we're
do,
gonna,
yeah.
we're gonna have to. I mean, everybody around us is doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even in Clinton County. So we may have to do that, who knows, maybe we'll get a new candidate in this, new round, and we won't have to, but,
And we can look in the positive and say we could get an excellent officer out of it.
there's no question you could. And I'll be honest, we did some interviews, we had 2 pre-service people that come in and applied. One, didn't make cut, the other one, who's a St. John's resident, he's in the military, and I'll be honest, he
He'd be a good
he
candidate.
did great, you would, I think he would do great. I mean, it's the problem is, we just got that lag time of, the next academy does not start, there's one in August, but the deadline for that was this week to have all your ducks in a row. And the next one is in January of 24, and that's 17 weeks, then you have another 12, 16 weeks of training.
Right.
So it's, they gotta pass, not quit, and not get picked up by another agency,
Right.
so. It's a big gamble, but frankly, there's not an option D here, I mean, it's, so, that's what we're looking at. This week, we hope to get the advertising out for the new position created, the administrative assistant at the police department, that's gonna assist Christie with the front desk. When I took over at the end of last year, first of this year, we've never had another, I think Dewitt Township's got 3 administrative assistants up front. We had one, we've always had one, Christie. She does a great job, she's a stellar employee. I wish I could hire a lot more like her. However, she had some medical issues in her family and she was off for a time being, and I can tell you, we were crippled.
Yeah.
I mean, I can walk up and say, sir, ma'am, how can I help you? And I can get you a police report, but short of that, gun permits, purchase
Yeah.
permits, sex offender, nobody there can do it. So we were literally crippled. So, in an effort to maintain some continuity, and, I don't know when she's gonna retire.
Sure.
At some point she's going to. And there are things that officers are currently doing, such as abandoned vehicles, whatnot, paperwork and auctions for them is time consuming, that this person couldn't fill.
Do
And
that.
certainly, once a person gets trained and up to speed, if we have more time in there, I know Dave's looking for somebody to do some of his reports, I have no problem with that, so. That's the goal. So we've started moving things around in the front office area, we've gotten with the office desk people, and they're coming in to put some workstations in. But I think there's like a 6-week lag there, so that'll continue on. Monday, Unit 754 goes in to get stripped down and everything get transferred over to the new car. Sergeant Mardigan, who's been with us for 21 years now with the Bath Township Police Department, was recently promoted to lieutenant, officially takes effect Monday. So that position will be filled. That creates a
Who
vac.
is that, say it again?
Sergeant Matt Mardigan, spelled Mardigian. So that created a vacuum, and so we had already began testing for the sergeant to backfill that. We have 2 internal candidates. Officer Marcus Siedelberg, who currently does the salvage vehicle inspections, and he's evidence tech for us, and Detective Brian Miller. They both went through the testing phase already, and now next week they go through an oral board phase. And sitting on the oral board, I have retired Chief Jack Phillips, retired Chief Lyle Lindemulder, DeWitt Township Chief Matt Maroney, and then myself sitting on that. So hopefully in the next few weeks that'll be wrapped up, so we can fill that vacancy. Last thing is, we, about a month ago, when we got to 92, 93 degree days, we were having, we had probably 4 of our 5 Tahoes just quit. And it was random. I mean, it's, yeah, it's not a good feeling. And they didn't all quit at once. They, you know, this day they quit, and then they all start back up after like 15 minutes. So it has something to do with the heat, and I believe we've narrowed it down to a run crank relay. GM won't admit they have a problem with it, but when all of our 19 and 20 Tahoes are shutting down, it's not a good feeling. We had Young Olds look at it, we had Superior Car Care look at it, we had 2 other mechanics try to narrow it down, and we had our gas tanks looked at out here, everything, and nobody can narrow it down. Didn't do it for like 3 weeks. Last week when it got hot again, one of them, the only one on the road at that time, did it again, so.
No other cop cars from that era and other departments are having the same issues?
Nobody seems to have the same issue. I don't know if it's because, I can't explain it. It's, I was on a call with one of the officers last week when it did it, and he come out, he said, Chief, my car quit. And we popped the hood, waited 15 minutes, and start right back up.
Yeah, it's overheating for some
Yeah,
reason.
it's, and the temperature gauge doesn't show it.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you have a lot of stuff running off of that.
a ton of stuff running,
That's a
you
lot
know, and we,
power.
in the one car, we just replaced the fans, thinking maybe the fan wasn't turning fast enough, although the temperature gauge isn't showing it's heated, so. Because of that, for next year's squad car, I'm gonna look at trying to diversify the fleet, maybe with, a Ford. Ford makes 2 products right now, and it's pretty common, the Ford Explorer and the Ford F-150 truck. So, believe it or not, the Ford Explorer is the most expensive of all, the Tahoe and Ford F-150. Which just blows my mind, but it is, so.
It's true. You remember back when we had gotten, how do they call them, upside down bathtub Caprices?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Caprice
those?
Classic, yeah.
You remember the problem we had? We had an ongoing problem with them quitting, just for no reason. And what it turned out to be, it was a fuel pump. The fuel pump would get so hot, and it would shut off, and it wouldn't do nothing for a few minutes, and all of a sudden it would start back up and take off and go again. I remember that. I was still wrenching then, so.
Yeah, so. That's all I have.
Good. We have any questions for Chief Smith? Any, information you might want? If not, we'll go onward to, Fire Chief.
I ran my totals from January to May 31st for 2023. Total calls is 554. For you, Al, it's 493 EMS and 101 fire calls, is how that separates out.
Say it again?
493 EMS and 101 fire. That's January to
May.
end of May 31st, yep. Our call volume is holding about the same. When I looked at it today from last year, we're up about 14, so it's creeping, but not totally exponentially right at the moment.
Do you have a number for 22?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Right offhand, I don't.
Okay.
The one thing that I looked at here when I saw the report that I ran is, with all our reports in the reporting system that we use, our overlapping calls where we get more than one at the same time is 18% of the time, which seems amazing to me. I know we get them back to back to back to back, and it feels like a lot, but 18% of the time we're getting one on top of the other or at the same time. Our main engine, one of our main engines, 6.5, has been in Wixom for almost 6 weeks now. It had a transfer case issue where it wouldn't shift into pump, so obviously the truck was just a a water hauler, so we had, and it couldn't be rebuilt here, they had to take it down to, or we drove it down to their service garage, Pierce Service Garage in Wixom. So it's down there, they've got the transfer case done. While I was there, we had some other things that our foam wasn't working and some leaking valves and things like that they're working on. The last I talked to them, they were working on getting a new valve for the foam, so it would work again, and so we should be close on getting that one back. Our mini pumper went down end of last week. We found an antifreeze leak coming out of the front of it, which turned out to be what they call an air cooler in front of the radiator, but it's got its own separate system of antifreeze and everything else. So we took that up to Simon Brothers and Fowler, and we got it back yesterday. So that's back in service. It was looking like our garage was looking empty. Beyond that, we've had our SCBA's checked for the year, that's done. We'll have hose testing coming up, I believe, the end of June. We've applied for a grant for a drone, which would have, thermal capabilities with it, which would help us. We utilized the county one out on a big grass fire we had out on Upton Road. And so then this came into light, and we found a place to apply for a grant. This, I think, I don't know that it's gonna be totally useful on a structure fire, but as far as the grass fires or helping the police officers, if we're looking for somebody that's, you know, out in the woods or whatever, obviously the county's got one, but we could have one too. We obviously there's training that goes with it. It's not something that you just go buy at Walmart and stick it in the air and do what you wanna do. There's obvious training that goes with it, so we'll have as many people as we can afford at one time to get them trained, and then ongoing with that. The township approved us to buy 2 more Lucases with the opioid money and more money from the township to buy the 2 more Lucas CPR machines that do the compressions for you. They look like a medieval torture thing, but they help a lot, because instead of this, you can only do this so long, and it's just, you know, it's a good effective CPR. And we've already proven that the one that we have has got us some saves. So we're adding a couple more to the fleet. Turnout gear, the state has got a grant for $10,000 for turnout gear. And we're asking the township, and that's still in the works of, to help supplement that, to get several of our guys to have 2 sets of gear. Obviously, with the job description, the cancer thing has become a huge thing. So basically, after each fire call, you're gonna need to wash your gear to get rid of the carcinogens that are being held in it. So with a second set of gear, we can put them right back in service while the gear is being washed and dried, cause it doesn't dry immediately. You can't stick it in the dryer like you can normal stuff. So there's some downtime there. So we're hopefully adding some second sets of gear here. We are in the process of going to First Arriving, which is a company that lets us put out push notifications and things like that. If you've ever gone into a place where they've got a big TV screen that's got the weather and announcements and things like that on a TV screen, that's what this is. And it also allows us to be able to put out enough licenses to be able to put it out to people's phones and things like that, an immediate notification if something is different than a 911 call. So we're into that at the current time. The other thing that we've been doing, a couple of weeks anyway, is we got permission from the guy that runs the car show to bring down a fire truck, and that seems to have generated some interest, just people walking around the fire truck as they're walking around the car show, PR type thing. Keep our name and face out there. And I haven't been able to come up with anything else beyond that at the current time.
Are you gonna take the fire department's Corvette down there?
That's the chief's car when we get it.
Okay.
Are the fires, related to the heat? You dry?
No, we haven't had a problem. We have a burn ban on right now because of the dryness, and so anybody that calls in to activate their burn permit, they can't have it. you know, they're not gonna be able to renew their burn permit currently. We'll switch that back off when we get some rain and feel like it's comfortable enough to go back at it. Like I said, knock on wood, we haven't had any major problems, but it definitely could be as dry as it is, and it's so spotty, the rain. My wife was coming out of Lansing yesterday, she said she had the windshield wipers on, all of a sudden she turned to come north up Center Road and it quit. There was no sign of, you know, so it's real spotty of what we're getting. We need, I mean, you guys all know your yards are all brown, so. We definitely need some
Right.
moisture, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions, Chief Snyder? Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys, for that report.
Nick, how are we coming on our, full-time?
Oh, our full-time people, I should have mentioned that, we're getting real close, we're getting real close to having our 2 on board.
Okay.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right. So, do we have any public comments on the second part? Okay, we don't. Township Board report?
Just to, see in our minutes here that we're talking about the marijuana gonna be voted on, recreational marijuana has been passed, and they're open over there now. Of course, this is 4 months old, so, just for you guys' information.
I thought it was already voted and approved,
It was gonna be approved that next meeting.
and it hasn't been,
According to what you wrote here, it wasn't,
in February.
yeah.
But
But
it's
it's
approved
been
now.
approved now.
Yeah.
And the bid on the roads, to take the trees down on Drumheller, the ones that were too close to the road have been taken down. The contract was signed, and 5 trees off of Center Road by Kessler's area out there. There was 5 ash that were together, and the county was afraid they were gonna fall in the road if they start coming down, and so they've taken them 5 down. And then you guys, you've explained very well on police and fire on what we've approved, so that's all I have.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions for Al with regards to what he's mentioned? Okay, very good. Well, we'll go on to member comments, and we can start with you, Al.
I'd just like to thank our police and fire department for the job they're doing. I know, I've heard from other departments that they're having the same problem as you guys are having. And, just tell the guys thanks that we do appreciate them.
Don, you got anything?
Nope, I don't.
I do. Jeff, no? One thing I will say that I happened to be listening to the scanner yesterday, or today. Bingham County happened to be on the scanner, and they had an individual that ran the city of Lansing all over heck, and then jumped out of the car and took off like a crazy man running, and he got 25 or 50 yards away from him, and he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a gun and he's waving it at him. And eventually they caught him and subdued him. But I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with people? I mean, my God. No people understand, and I too wish to thank both of you guys. You guys are doing a heck of a job. The transition from Chief Lindemoller to Chief Smith has been, I think it's as smooth as I ever remember. So, and I will tell you, Dave, you too, you guys are doing a heck of a good job. So, that's my personal opinion. If anybody has anything else, that's great, otherwise I'll ask for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, motion on the floor. Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Oh, I know one thing I didn't wanna ask.
Oh, one thing, you, at the end of this year, all of you are up on the board here.
Uh-huh,
And I want you to get an application back in.
okay,
Again?
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
We already got one in.
What the hell, you like?
How long do you keep them, Marie?
I keep them all the time. I have.
Are they all still good?
Pardon?
Are they all still good then?
Until this, it's going to since 23, which, go ahead, guys, if you want to fill it out again.
I think you already have mine. So,
I'm confused.
are you confused?
Well,
Right.
you're good till the end of this year. And then you'll have to have a one in, because you put one in last year, so.
So everybody has to reply. Do we have to do that every term?
Well, the next one, we will get the years separated, so some will be 4 years, some will be 3, some will be 2, some will be 1. And then the 1 year would have to file the next year.
Okay. You're, what was I gonna make a comment?
I think you're the only one, Don. You were just put on, I don't know how long you were put on for, so you might check on yours.
Oh, okay.
I believe he's the one that's gonna be the longest. Now, that would be a question for,
To the chief.
How long did we put him on for, Marie? You remember? Was it 4 years?
Board decided 4 years.
4 years, so you don't have to worry about it then.
Oh, I don't have to.
No, you're good.
Pardon? Okay. Is that application's online, right?
Go ahead, sir.
I'm not including FJS. As
As far as I know it is. As
yeah.
far as I know it is. What? I don't do anything online, so I like paperwork.
When you said car show, Dave, where are you talking about?
Down here at the
Bath Corners.
Bath Corners, yeah.
Oh, down here?
It's kind of an informal thing, but there's a guy that seems to be running it. I guess I don't know who.